guys, today we're going to be talking about Resident Evil 8 Village. So guys, today we're going to be talking and discussing Resident Evil 8 Village, and for the purposes of this video, there's probably going to be some spoilers that pop up. So if you have yet to finish this video game, come back at a later point and check out this review. So Stephanie, Resident Evil 8 Village, the latest game in the Resident Evil franchise, following the events of what happened in Resident Evil 7. Resident Evil 7 took place in, what, Louisiana, right? Where we followed Ethan. He was after his girlfriend Mia. He rescues her at the end of that, but there's still some weird things going on that, you know, we're left with like a little bit of a cliffhanger there. There's something wrong with Mia, maybe even Ethan. So that's where we're kind of picking up with this game. About what, a year has gone by at the start of this game?
No.
No? A couple years?
Yeah, I can't remember. I think it's 2 or 3?
Something like that?
There was something, or I read something that says how long it's been. I can't remember.
Okay, so either way, a couple years, either about 2 or 3 years have gone by at the start of this game. Ethan and Mia are now married. They have a little girl named Rose. We're just going to jump right into some spoilers right here because, no, not Rose, Mia, Chris's people, come on in. Umbrella, right? Umbrella, the new Umbrella, whatever it is.
Are they still... You know, they didn't even really talk about that.
They didn't really go into that.
But I'm guessing he's still part of
But either way, Chris's team come on in. We get this big shock at the start of the game. You're literally just been playing the game for, what, 10 minutes? And Mia gets shot. That gets revealed later through some events that Mia has not really been shot. Baby Rose is kidnapped. Ethan, this whole game is essentially Ethan trying to play the world's greatest dad and going after his daughter Rose. He winds up in like this, I think it was like an Eastern European town, village. We have this village being run by werewolves. We got a castle full of some freaky tall vampires, and that's where we go from this game. So Stephanie, how did you feel about this video game?
I thoroughly enjoyed it.
2 thumbs up.
Because like when 7 came out, I was not thrilled about 7, the way it looked.
There were just a lot of different changes with 7 that were hard to wrap our brains around.
But so I don't know, like when the trailers started coming out for this game, so I don't know if it was like I just liked the way everything looked, because I did like how, well, I liked that everything was in daylight. From the commercial, you know, there was mostly daylight or kind of duskiness looking. So I don't know. I don't know if I just like the way things looked. Like then they'd show like the castle and stuff, and you know they were just the way the trailer was. I don't know if I already liked the way 8 looked because I just liked the style of it from the trailer, or if because when we did finally play 7, which wasn't until last year, because we were bored, and then I was finally like...
We had nothing else to do during the 2020 COVID pandemic, so we got around to finally playing Resident Evil 7.
So yeah, then, you know, we played it, and then we ended up liking it. So then, yeah, I'm not sure if I was just like, oh, well, I liked 7, so I think this one looks good, or if it's just, like I said, because, you know, it too immediately kind of had that like Resident Evil 4 look to it and stuff, so I don't know if that's why I was a little more excited about this one, because it just, the style looked much more entertaining to me personally.
Well, some of my problems with Resident Evil 7, I know I feel like we're kind of sitting here stuck on Resident Evil 7, but it's kind of important to also talk about 7 to kind of get into what we really like about 8, I guess. But yeah, Resident Evil 7, there were just a lot of things about it. It's like, this is a Resident Evil game. It doesn't seem like a Resident Evil game. It just seems like those other type of games that, you know, because over the past decade or so, there's been a lot of really popular first-person horror games. You know, things like, God, what's that one? Where you're like in the asylum. Oh, God, what is that one called, Stephanie? You're like in an asylum. There's like 2...
Oh, that stupid PC game?
Yeah, they're either way. I'm trying to think of some of the titles.
Yeah, all the sudden games like that.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of some of the titles for some of the games. But
I almost want to say Outlast.
Outlast, that's it. Over the past decade, there's been a lot of really popular first-person horror games. And it's like Resident Evil was like, hey, we're going to jump on the bandwagon and we're going to start doing that. And yeah, that's kind of what I initially didn't like about Resident Evil 7, because I just really have a hard time with first-person games in general. It's just not really my thing. And yeah, it just didn't really feel like a Resident Evil game, and it's like, okay, how does this even tie in with the world, you know? And you don't even really get any tie-ins until literally the end. You know, seriously, the very, very freaking end of that game. So that's what I really liked about Resident Evil 8, is like, from the get-go, you're jumping right into the world of Resident Evil, and from the get-go, it just immediately feels like Resident Evil.
Yeah.
You know?
I don't know if it's because it was a village.
I don't know.
You know? And there were other people and more things.
Mm-hmm.
You know? I don't know if that was... Because I just felt like 7 lacked a lot of just... You were stuck with the same characters.
Yeah, 7... there wasn't much going on in 7.
The monsters were repetitive.
Yeah.
This game doesn't have that many monsters either. But I feel like...
I still feel like there's a variety of stuff.
Yeah, there was more... It felt like more variety, and I liked them better than the things that were in... 7.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, I've even seen stuff, too, where people... I have seen, like, you know, if you don't like 7, then this one's really good. Because then I've seen reviews where somebody's like, I didn't play 7, but 8 looked really interesting to me. So now I want to play 7, because I really liked 8.
But yeah, 8 definitely felt like a return to form with the franchise in some ways, because you get Chris. Chris is a big player. He's still only in it for a short amount of time, but they're definitely kind of leading that up, like he's going to probably be a bigger character in the next
more major
game. Plus, there's a lot of lore and backstory. We get a lot more going on with some stuff with Umbrella. We get some name drops with Spencer.
Yeah, we get like how Umbrella came around with Spencer and stuff, and that was like my favorite little thing, because we were reading the file and we were like trying to guess who this person was, and then we were like, wait, Spencer, because he's freaking old, you know. And then we turned the page and our eyes automatically lingered to the end of the file, and it said Spencer Oswell.
Yeah.
And we were like, whoa!
So it's a lot of stuff like that you're getting a lot of the origin for that guy Spencer, because Spencer, you know, that was his mansion in Resident Evil 1, right? That Spencer mansion or whatever. So yeah, you're getting a lot of backstory and lore with him, like how he kind of came up with Umbrella and why and whatnot. And yeah, this castle and this village is kind of like this prototype almost.
Yeah.
For what, you know, kind of before the events of Raccoon City, I guess. It's kind of my understanding.
The center of that castle,
yeah.
If you think about it, you have the main room, and then the 2 stairwells going up and crossing over, and having the doors on the side. So, in a way, it makes you think, did he make his mansion after he was there? Like, did he visit this castle? Did he make his mansion? Because actually, that center section, now that I think about it, looks like the Spencer's mansion.
And another thing that I really liked about 8, we go back to like the puzzles.
The puzzles were so fun.
The silly puzzles and riddles, and you know, you get all these silly keys and stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know, because that's part of what I like about Resident Evil, the franchise as well. It's just the silly puzzles and games you got to play to open doors and find keys and, you know, to get in rooms and find items, you know. It's like you got to go through all these obstacles and stuff. And so that's what I really like, because I feel like 7 was lacking a lot of that. 7 sort of had some of that, but nowhere near the amount like this one. Like how the Resident Evil games typically are.
I mean, because even when you get to, like, Moreau? I always want to say Monroe. No. But Moreau, right? Yeah. Moreau. I mean, even if you think about it, his section, when you're trying to navigate through that water area, that's still a puzzle. Because you gotta time yourself. Yeah. You know, so that's just a big open puzzle. But yeah, I liked the puzzles a lot. Because I felt like I was thinking more. Yeah. In this game. Yeah. Than
you really gotta think and pay attention to get through certain obstacles in the game.
I think, you know what? I never got a headache while we were playing 8 compared to when we played 7. So I don't know if they toned some stuff down, or if it was because I was not running in fear, looking left and right consistently, and my brain was like jiggling. Because I think, for me, because Resident Evil's never been scary to me.
I mean, it's scary, but like a certain type of scary, I guess.
And
you know,
yeah, and then I think 7 just overdid it for me.
7 was
And
absolutely
I
terrifying.
think I was so in a panic, that's why I always got a headache, because I was always like shaking my head, shaking the mouse around, looking left and right out of pure fear.
This one is terrifying in its own way, but not to the point that it's nauseating, I guess. Because yeah, 7, there's some truly terrifying stuff that's going on that's kind of nauseating when you're trying to escape from people that, you know, the family, the Bakers, right? Some of that is, it's a little much, it's overwhelming. I don't really like games that do that, where you're being chased around by your villains.
Yeah.
And it's like you as you're playing, you don't have time to breathe and kind of look around, because that's what I like to do when we're playing games. I like to look around at the environment. It's like the the game developers made certain things. It's like, I want to have the time to sit and look and enjoy and look at stuff. I don't like being chased around by stuff.
Yeah, I love like, and especially like being in the castle.
Yeah.
You know, I like looking at stupid little details, you know?
I mean, yeah, you do get chased around by Lady D at one point, but it's not that bad.
No.
It's not that bad compared to, like,
play hard mode.
Compared to Nemesis and Mr. X and the remakes of 2 and 3, because that is rough. Yeah, Lady D is not to that same extent. It's still terrifying, but not as bad as Nemesis.
She's so slow.
Yeah, she's kind of slow.
I don't know if in hard mode, because I would like to play hard mode next. I don't know.
Good luck with that.
I don't know if she might be a little more aggressive.
Yeah.
Because I actually loved that about Resident Evil 3 remake, that as you went up in mode, Nemesis kept getting more scary and such a pain in the butt, because he started running more, like in spots that he never ran. All of a sudden you get to the hardest mode and he starts running after you, and that made it kind of funny and scary. That's what this game was. It's scary, but in a funny way. Yeah. Because, like, I laugh as I run away from...
a lot of the horror elements going on in this game, it's
not
like
laughable in a bad way. Like it's one of those things that you just start laughing at yourself.
You get so scared that you're laughing at yourself for being that scared. Yeah, because I think a good example is in the chapter with the doll and Angie, right?
Yeah.
And Donna and Angie with the doll, and then that creepy, freaky baby blob thing. That's a good example of being scared half out of your mind, and you're sitting there running around laughing at the same time.
Yeah, because you just hear. Because, the baby, it was frightening when it first popped out. You were scared of it the entire time.
I think I was screaming. I literally screamed at one point.
But it was when it popped out the second time.
When it first popped out, I was like, oh, God. Oh, God.
Yeah, that was one of those moments where you also just laugh because it's, like, so hideous and freaky looking, and then you just laugh, too, because it's ridiculous.
A big thing that I liked about this game is just the story in general. I think the story of this one was way better than 7, because like I did my quick little intro here at the beginning. I was talking about, back in 7, Mia gets whatever, she's lost, and Ethan has to go find her, and he gets stuck in that Louisiana house with the Bakers and stuff. The premise of that was very kind of simple and basic. He's there to find his girlfriend, and this one I just really love the premise, because it's like Ethan has a lot more to fight for. He thinks Mia's dead. His daughter has just been kidnapped, so it's like he has a lot more to fight for, and he has like this whole different determination compared to what he was kind of doing in the first one. Because it's like
because he in the first game in 7 he was like, okay, Mia's got to be alive, so he had a different attitude, and in this game it was like he accepted that Mia was dead and was like, well, I have to protect the one thing I have left. So yeah, his whole mindset was completely different. And 2, he's already been through this crap.
Yeah.
He's
not as freaked out as he was in 7.
Yeah, in 7 he's like, more confused. In this he's confused, but in a more funny way.
Yeah.
Like, because he's like, why the heck does this happen to me? What the heck's going on? Why isn't this ending?
Why do my arms keep getting chopped off?
His whole attitude is just completely different, and I liked that too. He was more fun this time around.
Plus, this also brings back Chris, because Chris just literally, he pops up in the last couple minutes of 7. So he's back in this, and you're starting to get a little bit more of that, like, what's up with Chris, and you get to play as Chris briefly near the end, which was nice. So yeah, I like them bringing back Chris, and I'm hoping 9 he's a bigger player. I hope there's like some back and forth
Yeah,
there with him and Rose. We'll kind of talk about maybe some theories for 9. But yeah, I'm hoping there's maybe you get to play as both Rose and Chris, like you know, back and forth.
Because he's obviously like her uncle.
Yeah,
in a sense.
Yeah.
So yeah, I hope that because now there's that relationship that he will be, we'll be able to see him more.
And not only did I really like the story in this, I just because once again, like Ethan really had something to fight for and go after. You know, compared to just going after a girlfriend, I felt like he had a lot more. There was just a lot more angst and drama for him. You know,
baby is more important than what.
I also really like the villains in this.
Yeah.
The bakers. I mean, I like the bakers to some extent. You know, but
they're just kind of like dull.
Yeah, they were still kind of.
They're
dull
just
almost.
Crazy. People.
But yeah, I really love the set of villains in this. Yeah, I love Lady D. We're not going to even try to attempt to pronounce her name. Something like that. I really loved her and kind of the vampire thing. Vampire in quotes, because they weren't really
They
vampires.
just had a blood issue.
Yeah.
I forgot what the file said.
Whatever the file.
The file you got. There was files on each main villain, and it
explained.
Yeah, because I think it said for them, the ladies, they had some kind of blood issue or something, and
so it makes them vampire-like.
And then combining it with this Cadu crap, it enhanced it.
But yeah, I really love Lady D. It's a shame that the trailers.
They knew we'd love her.
The trailers were so misleading because I thought she was going to be your primary villain, not Miranda. The trailers didn't ever really even hint at Miranda, did they?
They mentioned her. Once, but I think that might have been maybe the second trailer.
I seriously thought Lady D was going to be your big primary villain the whole game, and you get done with her pretty fast in the game, which was kind of shocking to her and her daughters and whatnot. I loved her. She was great. Her whole look and her voice, and being in that castle. I love the castle environment. And yeah, Angie and Donna. That was probably my favorite parts of the game.
I wish
it's probably the shortest part of the game, actually, but. I love that. That was the most scary part of the game.
I wish that, to me, that had there wasn't a lot of info about them. Like, they never even showed Donna again.
It was just Donna, really.
Because she was in the background when it showed all of them together. I believe that was her way in the background. But, I wish they would have been expanded on a little more.
Yeah.
I feel like I liked them, but I also feel like they could have expanded just a few extra scenes for that character.
But yeah, I don't know about you. The stuff with Angie and Donna, that was my favorite chapter. The most scary, the most terrifying, and that also really... tested you as a gamer and playing and watching, because Ethan is stripped of all his weapons. You know, you have to. It's essentially the player having to run around with no ammo, using your brain. It's a lot of thinking for that part. You got to think each step, and then you got to navigate around the freaky the freaky baby thing or whatever. That was easily my favorite part. It's a shame it was so short because you can get done with that part so quickly.
My favorite was hiding under the bed.
From the baby.
And I don't know because I've seen some people playing, and I see people, because
I hide under the bed.
I didn't realize, I made a joke because there were so many closets, and I said, oh, can we hide in these? But because you would open them and there wouldn't be any items in there. It's like, what are we going to do, hide in these? And then I didn't even think about it, though, when we were running from the baby.
To hide in a cabinet.
I just remember we had just been to that bedroom, and then it said, and we crawled under there, and we were like, what's this for?
Yeah, why can we crawl under there?
And so then the baby came out, and I was like, the bed, crawl under the bed. And so that was just hilarious, sitting there and waiting for the baby to just walk around.
That was about taking your time and having patience while playing.
Yeah.
You know, I really liked that chapter.
Don't let the fear get to you.
Moreau was probably my least favorite chapter. If I had to pick a least favorite, probably Moreau. I mean, I still liked it. But I don't know. I didn't particularly like him that much as a villain.
Yeah. He was just the bumbling idiot.
He definitely had some issues with Miranda. They all had issues with Miranda, though. But yeah, his was probably my least favorite. What's his name? Heisenberg? I really loved Heisenberg. That was great. Those freaky robot thingies, whatever those were. I really liked his chapters.
And his was very similar to 7. We couldn't think of his name.
The son.
The son who was like bonkers, and he had the puzzles and stuff, and he kept talking to you over the intercom.
Yeah, he was very similar. Yeah.
This was like pretty much the exact same deal with him talking to you over the intercom, and like, hey, there's some new surprises, and it's like, oh, yeah, they were very similar.
And then Miranda, you know, they build up Miranda the whole game, and then she kind of just pops up there at the end, and you don't really spend too much time with Miranda. You know, I mean, you get some information and some reveals there with her, but she's kind of over and done with fairly quickly. And
her battle was so easy. Again, we played on normal, so I don't know, like...
If you played on a different difficulty.
Like, yeah, how higher, if a higher level would be. But, like, yeah, I died once during her battle. But then I learned my lesson. I was like, oh, wait, she's kind of easy to get around if you pay attention to her moves. So, yeah, like, her story wasn't expanded on that much. I feel like, yeah, everybody else kind of had more story. Well, I guess you learned more about her due to the files. Yeah. I feel like that's where we learned more about her, was all those files.
That's a big part of this game. If you really want to flesh out some of the world building and some of the stuff of the characters, you definitely got to read. There's a lot of just miscellaneous files lying all over the place. You definitely got to read, because it helps. It definitely helps to kind of understand certain things going on. And then as far as other villains, the werewolves, those were cool. They were really terrifying. I liked that. But yeah, that's what we were talking about, just the variety of things and villains to fight. Because you got the vampires, you got the werewolves, you got those monk things, you got those flying creatures, you got your individual people like Lady D and Heisenberg and Moreau and Donna and Angie, you know, Miranda, you got all those various things. But yeah, there's just a lot more variety, because 7 just had the bakers and those sludgy moldy things or whatever that was, you know, and that's kind of it, ain't it?
And then
that's kind of it.
Those things in the factory.
Oh yeah, those robot things.
The red dot, and you had to hit the red dot
to take them down. But yeah,
and then some of them changed.
But yeah, just a lot more variety of things to kill rather than just a few things like 7 had, because it keeps it lively and you entertained. You know, that's part of games. You need to be entertained, or else you can get bored. I guess just to jump into some of the events of the endings, this is definitely a lot of spoilers, because, yeah, like we said, Mia, you think Mia's dead. Mia comes back. She's alive, which I think we guessed immediately, didn't we? Didn't we guess immediately Mia was going to come back, that she wasn't really dead?
Yeah, because I mean, we didn't seem too weird.
Yeah, we didn't totally guess the twist, you know, that was actually...
We just felt like something was off.
Yeah, because the Mia that died was Miranda, right?
Yeah.
Sort of, whatever that was.
And because she can regenerate from the mold.
So, I mean, we didn't guess that. But, I mean, we guessed, okay, Mia's got to come back. Because that was just so crazy and abrupt, you know? So we guessed Mia coming back. Yeah, and Chris finds her.
And also, Mia took a lot of bullets. She took a lot of bullets. And then, which a normal person would have died from immediately. And then Chris came in there, and then remember, he looked at her, and he shot her a few more times, and she was still alive. But he, like, I think, shot her more in the head, and maybe the heart or something like that. But she had been alive still.
Yeah.
So, I don't think we paid too much attention to it, but now, like, when I've seen it again, now I'm like, oh, wait, you know, she wouldn't have been alive. She would have been dead of me.
And the big shocking plot twist at the end, Miranda rips out Ethan's heart. And it turns out he's been one of those moldy fungi things, or whatever all that's going on, right?
He's been mold this whole time.
So
Ethan, we're trying to figure out how that works.
Ethan dies at the end of the game, but he rescues Rose. He rescues baby Rose after she's been in those little cubes. Man. Was she really in those cubes?
When we found out about that, we were like, what?
Was baby Rose really in those cubes, or was it metaphorical?
I don't know, because they made it... I just find that's what I believe. Because then I thought they were saying then they were going to piece it all together.
Yeah.
Because then I was reading something that, like, Rose rejected whatever Miranda was dipping her into, a different kind of mold or whatever, I don't know, but to make her Ava.
We try not to question
that things. Rose rejected it because she had the mold in her, so that helped her reject whatever was going on.
Yeah.
So I still don't get that part. Was she for real in 4 pieces?
I don't know. Or was it metaphorical?
Yeah.
Symbolic. I don't know. You know, what I've learned about Resident Evil, don't question things.
No.
Don't question Ethan just getting his arm chopped off.
Just go with it and have fun.
Don't question his arm getting chopped off.
That's why his arm could be reattached, because he was made of mold. And the first aid activated the mold spores healing power, and that's
Something like
how
that.
his hand got.
But either way, Ethan dies, y'all. It is actually pretty emotional. It's pretty sad.
It is.
I was
Because
like, oh,
that's the first time
Like
we've
your
had
main character.
a playable character.
your main character.
The only other time that I got upset about a character, well, you have
Steve?
Ada semi-dying. Oh,
Oh,
wait, yes,
Steve.
Steve. Even though some people would probably say, why would you get upset over Steve
I
dying?
like Steve.
But, Piers.
Oh yeah, Piers from
That one-
from 6?
Yeah.
6, right?
Wait. 5, 6.
6. 5 was Africa with Shepard.
Yeah.
So he's
okay,
in 6.
yes.
Yeah.
That one,
Piers was sad.
that was
I forgot
sad
about Piers.
because you fought alongside him multiple times. And then too, with Chris's story in that game,
Yeah.
because Chris had just a really good story in that game. We're going off on the 6. Chris just had a really good story in that game because remember when all those people turned into like that, like it was like Pompeii, and so then. Yeah, he already lost all them people, so he only had Piers left. So,
But yeah,
so those are like the only few times that.
yeah, once again though, the characters in the past in the games that
they're
have
side
died,
characters.
you had Piers. He was a secondary character. Steve from Code Veronica was a secondary character. And then Ada, she kind of died into, but then she came back. Ada's been very confusing over the years.
Yeah.
But yeah, once again, it's only been side characters so far that have kind of died, other than villains. I'm not really counting villains, especially like Wesker. Wesker just keeps coming back from dead. Who knows if he's really alive or dead. But yeah, Ethan is your first major playable character that's died, I think.
And I think too, like I felt like a stronger connection with Ethan in this game.
In this game compared to the 7th
Just
one,
his
yeah.
whole behavior,
Yeah.
his humor and stuff like that, and
Yeah,
just the way he was in this game. I felt more connected to him.
I think he was better written in this one compared
Yeah.
to 7. He was better written, better personality. Yeah, I
Yeah.
think I got more attached to him in this.
Yeah.
Because I was pretty sad and emotional by the end when he died. I was like, oh.
Because I was thinking, he's not dying.
I know, I was shocked. Because you know how Resident Evil, it's like they have a hard time keeping somebody dead. They seriously have a problem keeping somebody dead, except for a few occasions. It's like comic books. There's rarely anybody in a comic book that's actually dead. So yeah, I mean, that was kind of shocking because I don't think Ethan's coming back from that, and yet he went out nobly, sacrificing himself, to make sure Mia, Chris, and baby Rose got out of there. So that was pretty sad. I wasn't expecting that.
Did he
Sad
find out
ending.
Mia was okay?
You know what?
Did Chris tell him right
That Mia's
there at
alive?
the end that Mia was okay?
You know what? I
Shoot,
can't
I can't
remember.
remember.
I can't remember. We gotta play again. We gotta play again because that's a detail I can't remember. I seriously can't remember if Chris mentioned me as alive. I seriously can't remember. But yeah, that leads into some thoughts here for Resident Evil 9. I'm assuming it's gonna be 9. I'm assuming that's the next game, right?
Yeah.
So
I'm pretty sure they said it was. I'm pretty sure. I don't know where I saw it, but I swear I thought I saw something that said it was supposed to be a trilogy. And after 9, like.
this game pulled an Avengers thing because at the very end of all the Avengers games it said Captain America will return and whatever. They pulled a thing at the end of this one that the father's story is over. Basically hinting that Rose is going to be your next.
It should have said, and Rose continues.
Rose will continue in Resident Evil.
Rose will return in Resident Evil.
But yeah, they pretty much left this game open that we're probably going to have a time jump because it looked like she was maybe about 16, 17, 18 years old, something like that. At the very, very end of the game. Yeah. So it looks like we're going to have a pretty dramatic time jump in the next game, and we're going to be playing as Rose, and I'm hoping Chris.
That really puts the game in the future, though.
Yeah. Chris is going to be a freaking old man, is what's going to be going on.
But he still sounded the same. that was yeah, I was thinking about that, later, the next day, man, Chris is going to be, super old.
We've been talking about, though, because these games are kind of jumping ahead, trying to catch up with, because the first game came back out in 1998, and it seems like the game... something, I don't know. Either way, the games are, it's like over the years they've been trying to catch up to the current, where we're at now, for real. So it seems like we were talking about that if this next game is going to be jumping ahead and we're going to have Rose and possibly, more with Chris, we're speculating, we don't want this to happen, but we're speculating that we might possibly get the death of Chris Redfield, you guys, in the next game, and conclude kind of that, because once again, the franchise has never killed off a major player other than Ethan now.
And Chris would be the most likely because he's more of a soldier.
Yeah. Yeah, because Chris has been there since the first game, you know. So yeah, we were speculating if there's a possibility, especially if this is a little trio, 7, 8, and 9, you know, kind of wrapping up this kind of phase of Resident Evil in a sense, and then yeah, any future games kind of moving on into some different stuff and just no longer having Chris, you know, especially if they do kill him. Yeah, I don't want Chris to die, but I wouldn't be surprised if they did kill him. I think that would be a nice wrap up for him, you know.
And also, too, I saw stuff where people were saying maybe 9 is going to be in third person because we see Rose's face.
Yeah, because we never saw Ethan's face.
We didn't see Ethan's face because it was like a thing about trying to put you into his shoes and stuff like that. And that's why it was in first person, or part of the reason it was in first person. So people are like, well, why would you show Rose's face and then have her as a first person character?
I'm kind of hoping Resident Evil 9 goes back to third person. I don't know if it will, but I kind of would like it to go back to first person. Sorry, not first person, third person. I'm hoping to go back to third person.
I just hope if 9 is in first person, that it is the final first person. Mm-hmm. I just like seeing my character. Okay?
Yeah.
I like looking at them, and I like seeing them do dumb stuff when they're just standing there.
So, yeah, I think there's a lot of really great potential for Resident Evil 9, the way 7 ended, and, you know, kind of the big cliffhanger there. We have Rose, and yeah, it seems like she's not normal. You know?
Seems because she hints that she's got some, like, Chris knows that she has powers, because it sounds like they're taking care of her, making sure nobody's going to use her, but also making
as a weapon of some sort.
But also making sure she doesn't overuse her powers. But it sounds like she knows she's got some extra wacky stuff, because she's like, I can do something that Chris don't even know about.
So yeah, is that pretty much it on our thoughts and feelings on Resident Evil? I mean, I think we did a good job covering everything. So that's it for our thoughts and feelings on Resident Evil 8 Village. In the comments below, have you guys played this video game? Did you love it? Did you hate it? What were things that you did like? What were some things that you disliked? What are some of your theories and speculations for Resident Evil 9 and just the state and future of the Resident Evil franchise? So that's it for this video. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. And if you like this video, you may like these other videos. Bye, guys.